Right now, an explosive wave of panic is rippling through the underground scene because the unthinkable has just been uncovered. Flight logs, leaked photos, and geotagged data have officially exposed the most shocking secret relationship of 2026. NBA YoungBoy is secretly dating NoCap's baby mama. The rumors are completely true, and the whispers place them directly inside YoungBoy's heavily guarded, multi-million-dollar fortress on Gravedigger Mountain in Utah. This single move has completely shattered the fragile peace between two massive musical empires, leaving NoCap completely blindsided, deeply broken, and reportedly in a state of absolute, chaotic panic. But the secret romance isn't even the most terrifying part of this leak. There is something far more sinister hidden behind the walls of that Utah mansion, and if the latest reports are accurate, NoCap's entire career is about to be systematically erased from the industry forever. To truly comprehend the catastrophic scale of this betrayal, we have to strip away the current headlines and look directly at the fractured history of these two artists. This is not a conflict that simply materialized overnight out of thin air. No, this is a deep-rooted war of ego, pride, and survival that has been fermenting under the surface for years between two of the most raw, uncompromising melodic voices in modern hip-hop. Years ago, the relationship looked completely different. It looked like an unstoppable empire in the making. When Kentrell Gaulden, universally known to the world as the global streaming titan NBA YoungBoy, first discovered the raw street lyricism of Mobile, Alabama's own NoCap, it felt like the perfect alignment of regional street power. In 2019, NoCap officially signed a monumental joint venture record deal with YoungBoy's powerhouse label, Never Broke Again. Together, they were supposed to completely dominate the charts, outmaneuver the mainstream music industry, and establish an unbreakable dynasty. But in this high-stakes culture, a shadow always follows the light. The first major, catastrophic fracture in their brotherhood erupted publicly in late 2022, transforming a private business dispute into an all-out social media slaughterhouse. YoungBoy took to his official platform, launching a series of highly aggressive attacks against NoCap without initially mentioning his name. He called out an unnamed artist on his roster, labeling them a mere worker instead of a true brother, demanding immediate financial compensation with two chilling words: "Pay me." NoCap, refusing to be publicly humiliated by his label head, fired back immediately on his Instagram stories, delivering a deeply personal counterstrike. NoCap pointedly claimed that while YoungBoy was locked behind federal bars, he was the one single-handedly carrying the heavy weight of the Never Broke Again banner, performing night after night, club after club, screaming "free top" to thousands of devoted fans. Then came the financial dagger. NoCap publicly accused YoungBoy of demanding an exorbitant payment just to clear his feature verse on the massive, fan-favorite track Flags to the Sky off NoCap's celebrated debut studio album, Mr. Crawford. The conflict escalated into a completely different stratosphere when the street code was explicitly dragged into the public square. YoungBoy fiercely alleged that NoCap was playing a dangerous game of industry chess, explicitly accusing him of being too terrified to stand up and defend their mutual brother, Quando Rondo, following the tragic and world-shaking death of King Von. In the unyielding laws of the street, neutrality in the face of conflict is viewed as the absolute highest form of treason. To make matters worse, NoCap began openly cultivating a creative alliance and personal friendship with Lil Durk, a man who sits permanently at the absolute center of YoungBoy's deepest enemy camp. When NoCap released a high-profile remix of his masterpiece Ghetto Angels featuring Lil Durk, the line in the sand was completely erased. YoungBoy viewed this as a direct, calculated act of insubordination, running his circle with the strict discipline of a military general. For years, the tension simmered in total silence, leading to a quiet separation where NoCap's music was no longer licensed under the Never Broke Again imprint. But then came the great illusion of 2025. The hip-hop community was left completely stunned when NoCap suddenly took to his official X account, publishing a monumental message of total forgiveness, powerfully naming NBA YoungBoy as someone he was letting go of all grudges against. Weeks later, the impossible happened. NoCap emerged as a high-profile guest performer on YoungBoy's historic Massa tour in late 2025, sharing joint arena stages across the United States. The fans were completely overjoyed, convinced that the multi-million-dollar math of a joint arena run had finally healed the wounds of the past. But behind those flashing concert lights, behind those calculated public handshakes, and behind that beautifully engineered illusion of brotherhood, a far more sinister, deeply personal plot was already being orchestrated. NBA YoungBoy was not forgetting the past. He was simply waiting for the absolute perfect moment to deliver a strike so devastating it would completely dismantle NoCap's world from the inside out. This blood-stained history made the current explosion completely inevitable. We have to look directly at the epicenter of the current devastation, at the precise moment this carefully constructed illusion of peace completely disintegrated into a nightmare of absolute betrayal. The date that will officially live in hip-hop infamy is May 14th, 2026. It all started when an obscure, anonymous insider source with direct access to private aviation manifests and elite luxury real estate logistics dropped a series of encrypted, highly detailed files onto an underground internet forum. Within exactly 48 minutes, those files leaked onto every major media platform, and the entire world realized that the fragile piece of the Massa tour was nothing more than a beautifully engineered trap designed to set up the ultimate public execution of NoCap's pride. The leak contained a sequence of undeniable, high-resolution and geotagged photographs taken from the heavily fortified interior of NBA YoungBoy's legendary luxury mansion nestled deep within the isolated, snow-capped peaks of Mill Creek, Utah, the infamous fortress widely known to fans as Gravedigger Mountain. The images did not feature a revolving door of standard music video models or random industry associates. Instead, they captured a deeply intimate, highly private setting that made the blood of every viewer run cold. Sitting directly on a custom, black velvet sofa in the mansion's primary residential wing was none other than NoCap's primary baby mama, the woman who has been explicitly tied to NoCap's personal life, his financial obligations, and his deepest emotional history for years. The photographs were pristine, clear, and absolutely undeniable. In one specific image, she is seen holding a custom, diamond-encrusted never-broke-again pendant, the iconic, priceless chain that only the absolute closest, most loyal members of YoungBoy's inner circle are ever permitted to wear. In another, even more explosive photograph, the background clearly displays YoungBoy's historic, multi-platinum RIA plaques reflecting off the glass of a luxury champagne table, proving without a single shadow of a doubt that she wasn't just a brief guest in Utah. She was living deep within the general's headquarters. The internet had barely begun to process the visual trauma of those images when the second, far more destructive wave hit the timeline: the leaked direct messages. A verified entertainment insider managed to successfully intercept a series of highly volatile, private Instagram direct messages sent directly from YoungBoy's official, highly elusive account straight to NoCap's personal device. The tone of these messages wasn't just aggressive. It carried a cold, mocking, and completely unfiltered level of psychological contempt that sent chills down the spine of everyone who read them. YoungBoy wrote directly to NoCap, telling him that he pays close attention to all that slick, industry chess. NoCap thought he was playing with the boys on the other side. He mocked him for thinking they were good just because they touched a couple of millions on that tour, boldly declaring that NoCap owed him a lot more than a tax bill. Then came the ultimate psychological dagger, where YoungBoy told him to look at his phone and see who was sleeping under his roof on Gravedigger Mountain tonight, ending the message by telling him he had completely dismantled everything NoCap loved from the comfort of his mansion. The sheer, catastrophic impact of this message hit NoCap like an absolute emotional grenade, sending him into a state of total, frantic panic. At exactly 2:43 a.m., completely unannounced and clearly operating under a state of absolute, frantic, and chaotic rage, NoCap launched an emergency Instagram live session from a dimly lit, rapidly moving luxury vehicle somewhere on the outskirts of Atlanta. The footage was completely erratic, the camera shaking violently as NoCap paced back and forth in the back seat, his eyes wide with a mixture of absolute heartbreak and unyielding fury. For 15 continuous, uninterrupted minutes, NoCap completely lost control, yelling directly into his phone screen to over 200,000 startled viewers who watched the drama unfold in real time. He screamed that this was the exact snake behavior he had been warning the world about since 2022, calling Cantrell a cold, calculated manipulator who targeted the mother of his child just to settle a financial dispute. His voice cracked under the immense weight of the emotional trauma as he reminded the world that he had stopped messing with major artists and risked his life staying loyal to the Never Broke Again name while YoungBoy was locked down in a cell, only to be betrayed in the most personal way imaginable. The live stream abruptly cut out, leaving the global audience in an absolute state of breathless suspense, desperate to know how YoungBoy's camp would respond to such a raw public breakdown. But then came the absolute first, catastrophic twist that completely flipped the entire narrative on its head, proving that the situation was infinitely worse and far more twisted than anyone could have ever anticipated. Exactly 12 minutes after NoCap's feed went dark, the baby mama herself broke her silence, completely shattering any defense NoCap had left by publishing a single, devastating text screenshot on her official Instagram story. The screenshot did not show a recent conversation from May 2026. Instead, it revealed a sequence of deeply intimate, highly covert text messages between herself and NBA YoungBoy dated all the way back to October 2025, the exact, precise week of the Massa tour. This means that while NoCap was standing proudly on that stadium stage alongside NBA YoungBoy, looking out at crowds of thousands of shouting fans, celebrating what he genuinely believed was the beautiful, triumphant restoration of their sacred brotherhood, YoungBoy was already secretly dating his baby mama behind closed doors. The entire reconciliation tour, the shared flights, and the public handshakes were nothing more than a beautifully engineered, multi-million-dollar deception designed to keep NoCap completely blind until the trap was ready to be sprung. You have to ask yourself, how does an artist even begin to recover from a psychological strike this deep? NoCap was completely blindsided, but as the morning sun rose, this twisted saga was about to drop an even bigger revelation that would change the music industry forever. The morning of May 15th, 2026, did not bring clarity. It brought a level of structural destruction that the rap world has genuinely never seen before. As the internet frantically tried to process the reality of the Massa tour setup, a prominent celebrity finance blog dropped a high-profile report that escalated this entire controversy from a messy personal betrayal into a multi-million-dollar corporate execution. A public county filing from the state of Utah was unearthed, revealing that just 3 weeks prior to this massive internet explosion, a highly secretive shell company entirely funded by Never Broke Again LLC had purchased an expansive, heavily guarded multi-acre luxury estate in Huntsville, Utah, valued at a staggering $3.2 million. The shockwave hit when observers realized the primary name listed on the official deed as the sole owner of the property was none other than NoCap's baby mama. Think about the absolute psychological cruelty of this specific move. YoungBoy didn't just bring her out to Utah as a casual, temporary guest in his own house. He used his immense streaming wealth to completely secure her financial future, gifting her an independent empire right down the street from Gravedigger Mountain to ensure total geographic extraction. He effectively showed NoCap that he could completely provide for, protect, and relocate NoCap's own family to a different state without ever uttering a single word on a diss track. The narrative shifted instantly from a standard story of a secret relationship into a calculated corporate extraction designed to bleed NoCap of his pride and his assets. The backlash across social media and news platforms was completely uncontrollable, transforming the timeline into an absolute war zone. On X, a massive, verified Twitter thread from an industry legal analyst went completely viral, accumulating over 50 million views in under 6 hours. The thread leaked a series of highly classified corporate registry screenshots showing that the joint corporate entity NoCap used to legally manage his independent music masters and touring revenue had been quietly altered behind closed doors. Because his baby mama legally held a 50% managerial stake in that specific entity, she had allegedly signed over the exclusive exploitation rights of NoCap's unreleased catalog directly to the Never Broke Again roster in exchange for the Utah mansion. Let that sink in for a second. If these leaked reports are fully accurate, it means NBA YoungBoy doesn't just have NoCap's family under his wing out in Utah. He now legally controls the rights to NoCap's financial future. The industry backlash was completely immediate. High-profile commentary channels began frantically broadcasting emergency streams to break down the sheer scale of the legal entrapment. DJ Academics launched an explosive live broadcast, screaming into his microphone as his chat room moved at a blinding speed of thousands of comments per second, declaring that YoungBoy had just executed a chess move that had never been seen in the history of music. Academics shouted to his audience that while NoCap was busy trying to play nice with the industry, YoungBoy was fighting him with property deeds and corporate contracts from the comfort of his perimeter. Major artists from opposite sides of the hip-hop universe were instantly dragged straight into the crossfire, forcing everyone to pick a side in what was rapidly becoming an all-out industry civil war. Lil Durk's primary security detail posted a dark, ominous warning on Instagram, telling their followers that they saw how the snakes were moving out west and that the response to protecting the family would be historic. Meanwhile, Quando Rondo broke his long-standing digital silence to drop a fierce, uncompromising defense of NBA YoungBoy, publishing a cold line on his story that read, "Loyalty is an active contract. When you breach it by standing with the enemy, don't cry when the general restructures your life." The entire music industry was heavily fractured, but just as the public discourse reached an absolute boiling point, the situation dropped an even more terrifying reveal. An anonymous leak channel on YouTube suddenly uploaded a highly confidential, intercepted audio file that permanently paralyzed the entire internet. The recording captured a private, frantic phone call between NoCap and his baby mama that took place just minutes after his midnight Instagram Live meltdown. In the audio, NoCap can be heard completely breaking down into tears, his raw, unedited voice trembling as he begs her to explain how she could allow herself to be used as a psychological weapon by his bitterest rival. But it was her cold, precise response that left the entire world completely stunned. She told him calmly that this was never about Kentrell using her as a weapon against him, revealing that she was actually the one who reached out to YoungBoy first. She admitted that she was the one who handed over the blueprints to his entire operation because NoCap had forgotten who was there for him at the bottom. The audio file cut out abruptly right there, leaving a cliffhanger that raised a wave of terrifying new questions. If she was the true mastermind behind this entire trap, what other dark, hidden secrets about NoCap's personal life and street operations did she explicitly hand over to NBA YoungBoy during those secretive months since the Massa tour? The drama had just completely transformed from a story of aggressive revenge into an intricate, deeply sinister inside job, leaving the global audience desperate for answers as the clock continues to tick. The fallout from that leaked midnight phone call didn't just trend. It completely shattered the digital infrastructure of the music culture. Within 24 hours, the search volume for terms like Gravedigger Mountain Operation and NoCap Hard Drive Vault completely overwhelmed servers across TikTok, X, and Instagram, generating billions of impressions. This wasn't a standard, short-lived entertainment headline. It became a massive, subcultural obsession that completely divided the entire music community into two ruthless, unyielding factions. The Great Fandom Civil War. Walk into any comment section right now, and you'll see an absolute digital war zone. The division between the two fan bases has officially become a toxic, deep-rooted civil war with absolutely zero room for neutrality. The Never Broke Again loyalists, hashtag Top Soldiers, YoungBoy's fiercely devoted fan base, is treating this entire operation like an absolute strategic masterpiece. They're flooding the internet with green heart emojis, arguing that NoCap breached the ultimate code of street loyalty the exact second he started publicly moving with Lil Durk and accepting features across enemy lines. For them, YoungBoy didn't start a petty rumor. He simply executed a brilliant, calculated military move to protect his corporate investments and reclaim his respect. The Vulture Defenders, #FreeCap on the complete opposite side. NoCap's supporters are calling this a predatory, deeply sinister act of emotional and financial bullying. They argue that YoungBoy is completely consumed by a deep-seated paranoia because he knows NoCap is one of the rawest, most talented melodic writers in the entire history of the streets. They claim YoungBoy couldn't outright him on wax, so he had to weaponize his massive wealth to extract NoCap's family and steal his unreleased masters. Celebrity and media backlash. The gatekeepers of mainstream hip-hop media could no longer remain silent as the structural foundations of the industry began to shake. Shocking reactions and panic-driven statements started dropping from every single corner of the rap game. Joe Budden's emergency podcast segment. We are witnessing a level of cold, calculated corporate warfare that this industry is genuinely not prepared for. YoungBoy isn't playing by the rules of media or music anymore. He didn't drop a diss track. He bypassed the entire creative process and went straight for the load-bearing walls of NoCap's personal and financial life. If those leaked corporate reports are fully accurate, it means your entire career can be completely restructured from the comfort of a mansion in Utah. It is brilliant, it is terrifying, and it is completely lawless. Meanwhile, the Shade Room's official coverage of the $3.2 million Utah mansion registry became the most interactive post in the platform's history, accumulating over 90,000 comments within a matter of hours. The absolute peak of the chaos hit when Drake's longtime security chief reportedly liked a viral thread detailing the strategic layout of Gravedigger Mountain, signaling that the entire elite tier of the industry is quietly watching this powder keg from a distance. Even Anneli Choa released a widely shared video statement, aggressively condemning the move and calling it an unholy act of psychological destruction designed to systematically break a man's family structure for corporate leverage. The lines have been permanently drawn, and the internet is completely locked in a state of absolute, unyielding chaos. Haters and supporters are actively tearing each other apart over who is truly right, but the public commentary is no longer just about a secret relationship. It has evolved into a massive, terrifying debate over power, control, and absolute leverage in the music world. And just as the public begins to adjust to this massive divide, a chilling realization is starting to settle over the entire culture, a realization that someone is about to make a final move that will permanently alter the physical safety of everyone involved, changing the terms of this war forever. Just when the entire world genuinely believed that the drama had reached its absolute peak, just when we thought this toxic saga could not possibly get any more convoluted, sinister, or emotionally devastating, the final vault was violently opened. At exactly 5 a.m., the official digital infrastructure of the Never Broke Again media empire did something that completely paralyzed the entire music industry. They didn't drop a traditional music video, and they didn't publish a standard press release. Instead, they launched an unannounced, highly classified live stream titled with a single set of coordinates, 40.6781 degrees north, 111.6948 degrees west, Gravedigger Security System Intercept. Over 500,000 terrified viewers instantly crashed into the live stream within a matter of seconds, watching a dark, infrared night vision camera feed displaying the main entry gates of YoungBoy's heavily fortified Utah fortress. The audio coming through the stream wasn't music. It was the raw, high-definition ambient sound of the wind howling through the mountain peaks, mixed with the distinct, terrifying sound of security personnel moving heavily around the perimeter. Suddenly, the camera feed remained frozen on the gate, but the audio source was abruptly switched directly to an internal microphone inside the mansion's primary recording studio. For 40 cold, agonizing seconds, there was absolute silence. Then, a voice emerged from the darkness. It was NBA YoungBoy, speaking in a slow, whispered drawl that carried a chilling level of sovereign authority. "Y'all think the story ends with a mansion deed?" YoungBoy whispered into the microphone, his voice echoing coldly. "Y'all think I bought a property just to make a worker blink on an Instagram Live? No cap, you still don't understand the game we playing out here on this mountain. Your baby mama didn't just bring me her heart, boy. She brought me the vault. I got the hard drives. I got the signatures. I got the real reasons why you left mobile and why you've been running from them bills. The clock is ticking, worker. Right as those words left his mouth, the infrared camera inside the studio illuminated, dropping the single most shocking revelation of the entire saga. Piled on top of a luxury mixing board were NoCap's actual, physical master recording hard drives, stolen directly from his secure facility. YoungBoy panned the camera to show a list of what was hidden inside the vault, exposing an absolute nightmare scenario for NoCap's career. Over 300 unreleased, multi-platinum tier master tracks. The original, unredacted corporate contracts revealing NoCap's hidden financial debts. Highly classified audio recordings of NoCap discussing top-tier industry figures behind closed doors. YoungBoy gave a terrifying ultimatum, stating that a digital countdown timer would override the feed, ticking down to midnight on July 3, 2026. If NoCap doesn't publicly surrender his independent autonomy and sign over his entire career catalog to Never Broke Again LLC before that timer hits zero, the vault will be permanently leaked to the public, systematically erasing his name from the industry forever. But the absolute peak of the horror happened live on camera just seconds before the broadcast was scheduled to end. A flashing red proximity alert suddenly overrode the security feed, and the night vision camera automatically zoomed down into the winding, snow-covered mountain road leading up to the estate. A single, blacked-out luxury SUV breached the outer perimeter sensors of the fortress at a high rate of speed. Over the live security radios, YoungBoy's personal guards could be heard shouting frantically that an unauthorized target had just crashed through the secondary checkpoint. The camera tracked the vehicle as it screeches to a violent halt directly outside the residential wing of Gravedigger Mountain. The driver's side door flew open, and a lone figure matching NoCap's exact physical description stepped out into the freezing Utah air, completely unassisted, walking straight toward the heavily armed security lineup. Right as NoCap came face-to-face with the security cameras, the entire live stream violently glitched out, cutting instantly to a pitch-black screen with a single, chilling sentence. The confrontation has begun. The countdown is frozen. The internet has officially been thrown into an absolute state of panic, leaving the global audience in a terrifying state of suspense as a real-world showdown plays out in total darkness. This is officially the most dangerous, high-stakes showdown in hip-hop history, and things are exploding in real time. We are tracking this volatile situation live as NoCap steps directly into the General's trap on Gravedigger Mountain. Scroll down right now and spam the comments. Did YoungBoy completely checkmate NoCap's entire career, or is NoCap about to pull off the ultimate street counterstrike? Drop hashtag TopSoldiers or hashtag FreeCap below to declare your loyalty. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and slam that notification bell right now. Our next emergency update drops the exact second the darkness breaks.
Stay locked in.